3 weeks after that, and they said, you gotta come work for us. It's like, so I started working at NASA 3 days after my high school graduation. And working at NASA, I go on a cooperative education program. And in this program is where you alternate semesters between school and college and a place where you're learning job skills. So I was co-opting at NASA for Mississippi State University. And I ended up getting my bachelor's of science at Mississippi State in electrical engineering. I got a master's of science in electrical engineering at Old Dominion University of Virginia. I ended up winning, after working at NASA full time, I ended up winning, I didn't know NASA even did this, but for all the 10 NASA centers around the country, they have a rocket science competition. Who knew? And so I participated in the rocket science competition and found out I was the top rocket science at NASA. And when you win this competition, you get to go to any school in the world that you get accepted to. You don't even have to get grades. You're just getting to learn some new skill and bring it back to NASA. So I ended up going to the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. I left MIT with a 5.0 grade point average. And when I was there taking these really hard classes, it's like when I was doing well, I realized that I remember my biological mother telling me, you're stupid, you're ignorant, you'll never amount to anything. And so then at this time, I'm just like, well, maybe I showed her. Maybe I showed her I'm not as stupid as you thought I was. I'm not as non-intelligent as you thought I was. And I realized that the only way I could do that, it was hard work. I could either accept the negative declaration that someone else had for me, or I can either choose to believe that I am greater than my circumstances. You can call me whatever you want to. If I either choose to listen to you, or I choose not. And it was not for the kindness of other people who spend a little time out of their day to give me a pair of shoes, to give me food to eat. It's really hard to study in school when your tummy is empty. It's really hard to pay attention to your coursework when the other kids are making fun of you for your raggedy clothes. And so if it wasn't for the kindness of them to do those helping me to meet those basic needs. They got a thing called Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's hard to feel love and security when your fundamental security is at risk, when you don't have food to eat or water to drink or a place to lay your head. And sometimes I think for homeless people like me, because they met the basic needs and counselors came along later to help me resolve issues with family and belongingness and things like that, I was never able to reach, at least at that time, self-actualization. A place where you realize that the world is like Play-Doh, that you can either carve for good or evil, but it's up to you. It's within your power to do that. And so I realized how grateful I am. I left MIT and then ended up going to, and when I was at MIT, I learned Chinese, I learned Hebrew, and I taught myself Greek. And so I ended up getting my PhD at the University of Virginia in systems engineering. And then even after my doctorate, still working at NASA, I went to the Brookings Institute, a global think tank, and got my postdoc there. And so I used to be homeless with no food to eat, no water to drink, no change of clothes, not a single person that said they loved me, but were not for the kindness of others, just like yourselves. And I would like you to do a favor for me if you don't mind. I'd like you, when I say kindness of others, just like you, I would like you to say, just like me. You can do a little better than that. Just like you.
Just like me.
Just like you. I'm glad you said, just like you. You are no different than the people who helped me, who took a little time out of their day to care, to come to events like this, the Homeless Coalition, realize what part can I play to help eradicate. I think the real issue is systemic, the laws that we have, and whether our elected officials and we, when we go vote, do we stand up for the principles, the architecture, the infrastructure? Do we say that you are an individual, you're not dependent on anything else? Or do we say we are really interdependent? If we really think about it, this is the truth that has always been. I realize that you can't even come into this world by yourself. You need two other people besides you to just get here. It's like, so when you can't start out into this world on your own, how do you think you can do all the rest of the journey all by yourself? We breathe the same air. and now that I'm a rocket scientist, I see the water cycle that happens on a global scale. We drink the same water. It may go down into aquifers, it goes out to the river, it goes out to the ocean, then the sun heats up the water, it goes up in the form of the clouds, and the wind moves the clouds to another thing, and it rains right down. It's the same water circulating all over the earth. We're drinking the same water. We're breathing the same air. We're really not as independent as we think we are. We need one another. I'd like to leave this. One of the things I saw being homeless was people who lived their life with a very debilitating disease that I would call WUCUS. How many of you have ever heard of WUCUS? It's called WCS. Have you ever heard of the WUCUS disease? I'm glad I made it up. So I'm glad you didn't say it. WUCUS is woulda, coulda, shoulda disease. These are usually in older folks, middle-aged to older folks, and these are the people who look back on their life and they look at things they wanted to do, they should have did, they could have done, and they look, every single one of us has some little piece of WUCUS, and we're like, man, I should have married Billy Bob versus Wayne. Oh man, if I could do it all over again. And then some of us in high school, I wish I had asked her out on a date when she was looking at me with those eyes. And it's like, well, why didn't you? Well, I was afraid of rejection and what she would say. And so I was afraid. And then 40 years have passed. And Billie Jean met somebody else. And you still replay that tape over and, man, I had a chance. She was looking right at me. She was looking right at me. It's just like, and 40 years goes by. And there are some people with anger and regret. And you were at a party when you were 18 years old. And somebody stepped on your new patent leather shoes. And you're like, oh my God, those are my brand new shoes. I saved about 4 weeks for those shoes. 50 years have passed. And you're still holding the regrets in your heart and mind for somebody who stepped on your shoes at 18 years old. You are still holding this emotional bag in your heart. Let the bag go. Drop it. You can't change what happened back then, no matter how hard you try. Time keeps marching forward. And the best thing you could ever do, and this is what happened to me, I cannot change what my biological brother did to me. I cannot change what my biological brothers and sisters did to me. There's a thing called the serenity prayer. The serenity prayer. God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I can, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. There's some things I can't change. There's some things I can. And I want to know the difference. And I'm not going to waste my time on things what people did to me yesterday. What can I learn from that to make better decisions for tomorrow? And each of us have these lessons that we can learn. But in this Homeless Coalition right now, I want to say thank you for the folks that you're going to, the other Terry Morrises. And like TJ, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to say you did well. You could be at Walmart, you could be at Target, you could be at the Piggly Wiggly, if you have a Piggly Wiggly here. It's like, what really matters is, are you living a life that you can feel good, that you are, maybe the best opportunities haven't come now, but opportunity and chance happens to every single one of us. It may not be now, it may be next year, it may be 5 years from now, but make yourself be prepared for the opportunity when it comes. And I guarantee you there's success for everybody. And it all depends on who you're going to listen to, the little angels on one shoulder or the little devils on the other. I listened to angels who helped me. And now one of the last jobs I had at NASA was working on the Constellation program. I was in charge of all of the software and robotics and things like that, not just on the Earth, but on the Earth, on the Moon, and Mars. I used to be homeless with no food to eat, no water to drink, and I ended up with responsibilities from the U.S. government on 3 planets. How is that possible? Only God made that possible. And let me leave you with something else. I have never seen God, whether you believe in God or not. I don't know what he looks like. I don't know what his form. I don't even know if he's male or female, to be honest with you. Be truthful with you. He might wear a dress. I don't know. I don't know. All I know is I have seen God in a particular form. I've seen God at a dinner table with a white sweater on who gave me a smile when I was hungry. I saw God. And you right there, you have the love of God in you in a way that I've not seen in a long time. To share the love, and not just with words, but with actions. Showing love and respect and giving people dignity and furniture and food without all the stipulations. I know our government has stipulations, but God comes in many different forms. And it's up for us to decide, will you let him flow through you or will you resist it? And many of you that are here today, the very fact that you are here today is you have shown, I'm looking at God all around me. When you let his love flow through you, and you use that love to show kindness to someone else in need. There are some people that sometimes overmuch help for certain people is actually hurtful. And learning how to give the right kind of help to the person who needs that type of help. I am so grateful to all of you, because I know that there are going to be future Terry Morrises and future TJs that will rise up within this community. And I'm doing my best so that other homeless people can feel comfortable. Here's a secret. A lot of homeless people who have been helped, sometimes they still feel shame that they were put in a situation where they needed this help. And a lot of them don't come out to say, thank you for helping me when I lost my job. I never thought I would need anybody else. And then there was a once in a time that I did. And sometimes I made a bad decision, and here were the consequences. I hate doing this to my wife and my kids. And there are other people that it was no fault of their own. But looking at them for respect. Respect comes from the root to see who that is, to see them for who they are. They're not a monolithic group. There are many different causes and reasons for homelessness. Mine will become my biological mother. And I want to plant whatever seeds that I can to stop the stem of this homelessness. And all I know is, as a rocket scientist, and every farmer, as you said, like farmers, especially here in Idaho, every farmer knows one of these universal laws. And the universal law goes like this. The only reason I am here today is because someone planted positive seeds into my heart and mind. And like clockwork, each of those positive seeds produce the fruit, and this is why I'm here. Each seed produces fruit after its own kind. Continue to plant the seeds right here in Nampa and Greater Boise. Continue to plant the seeds of hope that there is a possibility that we can solve this problem. Continue to plant the seeds to let you know that we're going to find the solution together, because this is what we're all meant to do together. I'm not homeless anymore. Thank God I don't have to eat out of the garbage cans anymore. But whenever I see another homeless person, I think of myself, because it's our common humanity to be grateful to be alive and to be around people like you. Continue to let God flow through you. Thank you so very much.
With that, we are finished today. We want to thank the culinary program, who did an absolutely outstanding job. They are